Okay, today, y'all, we got a special guest. We got Michael Jefferson, school owner, but he has something unique, something that every school owner in America needs. Every business owner needs what he has. He has a school, but he set up a nonprofit also, and it's very unique. I'm going to let him explain it. He's going to tell you all about his life. He's going to tell y'all about the school. He's going to tell y'all about the nonprofit, why he opened a nonprofit, how it works, how people give him money and donate to the nonprofit. And another thing, he can help you set up your nonprofit. I'm going to put a link up too at the end where you can fill it out and Michael will contact you and talk to you about the nonprofit. And then if you think that it will help you, then he will give you a link to help you get started on that. So without further ado, Michael, let's go.
Hey man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it finally being on here. Long time watcher, man. Been waiting for my chance to be on this platform, and I'm just glad to be here.
So
So,
Michael, tell me about, let's start out with your childhood, but go ahead and talk.
okay. So as Chin said, I do have a barber school, which has only been open about not even a month yet. But during the process of me getting going, doing the remodeling phases, I was having issues with getting the money that I need to open my school. Credit wasn't the best because I just bought a house. Um, so I was going at this all out of my pocket, from cutting hair in the barbershop, or in some of my downtime, I would drive for Uber. So I was having the biggest problem with contractors that, I didn't like where it had me in a stagnant place. So I came up with this idea that I was going to reach out to the community of Tunica where I opened my school up and see if they would help me get my school open. Everybody seemed to think, man, that's a good idea. The kids in this area need more opportunities besides going to truck driving school if they don't decide to go to college after high school. Uh, that town didn't have a lot of options, so me coming to that town was a breath of fresh air for them. But nobody wanted to give me any money because they felt like, hey, you're new around here. We don't want you to be a fly by night kind of business where you just come in here and just take money from the town and then just disappear. So you have to be able to give back to the community. So how are you going to give back? I got frat brother that's on board of supervisors that was in my ears like, frat, you got to give back some kind of way. So um, I just I was thinking along the lines of a nonprofit anyway, because I reached out to Chin and he was like, man, running a nonprofit through your school is not a good idea. But the life of me, I just couldn't stick with that. I couldn't go with that. So reaching out, doing my research, a CPA told me, man, it's gonna cost you about $5,000 for me to do it. A lawyer was just as high. I didn't want to spend that kind of money. I'm in a bind right now, so I didn't have that kind of money. I did my research, got on YouTube, did some diligent seeking, and I found out that the we know that the money in this industry is not made behind a chair. We know the money in this industry is made by putting on hair shows or owning uh, beauty supply stores or schools. So I didn't want to just come into the other side of this industry and just own a school. I wanted to be on. I started thinking about, well, how did Bronner Brothers do it? How they got beauty supply products? How they have hair shows? How are they doing that? And then I found out in the process of me doing my first hair show, I ran into some more roadblocks because of funding. But I found out during that process that the way they're able to do it is by running a nonprofit. They run a nonprofit, they have a mission for that nonprofit, and they use that nonprofit's mission to seek out sponsors that'll give them the money they need to do what they need to do. Because the sponsors, if your mission lines up with theirs, you a tax write-off for them. They'll give you anything you want. So in doing my next hair show, I reached out to casinos. with my sponsorship packet. After I formed my nonprofit, I was able to put together a sponsorship packet, reach out to casinos to sponsor my hair shows, uh, reach out to other stores in the community because if they in the community, they have to give back some kind of way. No business can come into the town and not be willing to invest in their community in some kind of way. So I started reaching out to these stores, the Dollar General, Family Dollar. I went online and looked up uh, what do they do as far as community engagement. And when I found places that missions lined up with mine, hey, that was jackpot because they're not going to say no if our missions are aligned, and it's a tax write-off for them. But they would not donate that to just my barber school. They will only donate that to a 501c3. So I'm here to tell you that opening up a 501c3 component to your schools is golden. Donors will give you money. Grants are out there available for you. Uh, I do my research on grants.gov all the time. I'm seeing grants out there for $3 million with a floor that starts at $700,000. So they will give you at least $700,000 if your mission is aligned with what their grant opportunity is. It's really we're leaving money on the table because so a lot of times those grants will go back. They'll have a deadline where that money has to be sent out, and nobody ever applies for it. So it just goes back. The government just trashes their money. We leaving money on the table, and I think our industry can benefit from that.
Okay. Now, Michael, as far as the grants with the nonprofit, because when you first came to me about that, I was thinking of the school being a nonprofit, but not having a school and a nonprofit.
Yeah, so you can have a for-profit and a nonprofit. So what I did and what I try to help people model their business is like this. I grew up at risk, not because I didn't have my dad in the house, because I did. But I grew up at risk because my dad was a workaholic and he was never at home. I wanted a big brother figure so bad, so I took to the streets. I ended up selling drugs. I ended up going to prison, did 12 years in prison. Then I came home, didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, well, I know this is not set up for me to get a job that's going to pay me the way the money I'm used to having. So I just got to go and create my own job. So in doing that, I went to barber school. I got my barber's license, worked in the industry for a few years, decided I wanted to open my own school. And here I am. But with that nonprofit, I'm able to take the way I grew up and give back to the community in that same kind of way. So what I would suggest is when you form a nonprofit, you form your nonprofit based off what you went through. Because I'm a firm believer that nobody goes through anything in life that is meant for them. It's always meant for somebody else. And what I mean by that, okay, yeah, I went to prison. I did that time, but guess what it did for me? It helped me be prepared to take custody of my niece and my nephew. When I got a call one day that my sister's boyfriend was trying to set the house on fire with the kids in there, I was able to remove them from that situation. And that really kind of birthed the passion in me that, hey, my folks are at risk, but my folks are not the only ones at risk. I grew up at risk myself. So who else is out here is at risk? So that's when my wheels start churning about my nonprofit. You have to find out what it is that God took you through because he didn't take you through for you. If you're still alive and you on this call right now, it was not for you. As sad as it was, as real as it was for you, it was just not for you. It's for somebody else. So what I did was I took that mission and I formed a nonprofit. And the name of my nonprofit is Cut One, School One. It's a youth crime intervention because we know the crime among the youth is getting out of control. They're breaking in people's cars at 14 years old. So what I wanted to do, I reached out to a couple of my clients who were grant writers. One of my clients told me, said, "Hey, if you form this nonprofit, man, I'll write you a grant." He wrote my grant. Right now, we're looking down a barrel of a $3 million funding opportunity for the nonprofit, so the nonprofit can run, get these kids some help, and if these kids go through the program that our nonprofit set up, if they go through it successfully, then we will enroll them in our barber school for free. That's how we get back. But now, like I said, the for-profit side is when people are enrolling at 21, 22, 23 years old, they're not coming through the nonprofit to get into school. They're coming in as a student. They're coming in to make money off their own, to pay money out of their own pockets, because I'm a new school. I don't have Title I funding just yet. So when they come in, I'm making they're paying through for profit. But when I get students to come through the nonprofit, then the nonprofit pays for them to go to school. When you do that, when you align yourself with other businesses in the community that has that same heart for the community as far as cutting down on crime, they'll give you anything you want. They'll give you anything you want. Right now, I kid you not, I've been in that town. I opened my school up June 8th. I take that back. I had my state board inspection on June 8th. My birthday was June 9th. That Monday morning, June 10th, I was in the office of the county administrator and the board of supervisors. They're asking my nonprofit to sit at the table with other nonprofits in the community to help form a coalition to cut down on crime in the community. And he told me, because we know we can't call you to the table for free, we will pay the salaries of all your employees for a year while you're waiting on getting that funding.
Hmm, that's great. Now, when you start thinking about opening this school, what did you do, Michael?
As far as opening the
Like,
school,
yeah, any research? What were you thinking of? How did you and I meet?
oh, so we met at a hair show. I think it was the Major League Barbers hair show in Nashville. It was 2, 3 years ago. I stopped by your booth. We talked to you for a minute, and then you did tell me that you told me a little bit of your backstory about how you came up through the prison and all that too. And I kept your number. I locked your number in that day, and maybe 3 years later, after I did my first hair show, crazy thing about it, I did my first hair show. I met this lady who had more experience at doing hair shows than I did. She partnered with me to finish it up, to finish my hair show up, and then she asked me to work for her as an executive director at her school. I had no idea I was going to be opening up a school soon after that, because the information that I got from her, I felt like, hey, she's been loyal to me from the beginning, helped me out on my hair show. So I'm gonna pay her back, and I'm gonna be the same way for her, even though she was asking me to take less than what I was making as a barber. So, but I did it because I felt like, then plus she has the connections to do these hair shows, and I'm trying to get into this lane. Um, that didn't work out. I decided I didn't learn everything from her to just sit back on it. I feel like the little time that I was there with her, then God gave me the information that I needed for me to start my own. So I reached out to Chin again. I was like, hey man, I think I'm ready to go ahead and do this. I just had a bad experience with the school, and I think I'm ready to go ahead and do it. And here I am. 2 years later, I finally got my doors open.
So how was that process when you reached out to me?
Um, we talked for a few minutes. You told me about the program that you had, the master class that you had, and I was like, Chin, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't got no money right now, but I'm gonna do it. I kept telling you I'm gonna do it, and I told her, hey, listen, I got this amount of dollars right now. Can I go ahead and get started with this? You were like, yeah, go ahead and get started, man. And I was grateful for that. And every chance I had to send you something else, I did. I did. And and there was a couple of times where it felt like, man, I'm not gonna make it through this process. I got all the way here. It's just not gonna happen. But I had people around me that was like, man, you just gotta keep pushing. I had frat brothers that became more like blood brothers because they believed in my vision more than my family did. And that's the truth. So I made them, those frat brothers, I made them board members on my nonprofit.
So what were you thinking when you joined the program? Were you thinking it's gonna work, or what was your perception? Honestly.
Did I think of I saw the testimonials, um, and I saw it working for other people. Did I think it was gonna work for me? No, because at one point I felt like I was just doing this because I was trying to get back at old girl for how because she didn't want to pay me. I didn't feel like I was really doing it for the right reason. And so I got discouraged, but I kept looking at the money that I had invested in and the time that I had invested. And I'm like, man, ain't no way I'm about to lose all this money and not walk away with my school. If I got to sleep in my school and not, and just sleeping there day and night, then I'll do that before I let it go. But no, I didn't think it would have worked for me. I seen it work. I just didn't think it was gonna work for me.
Why do you think it was gonna work for you?
Well, because it takes money to make stuff work. And again, I was just coming. I hadn't been home from prison a long time. I'm really far behind in regards to classmates of mine who, when I came home, was married with children and out of college and whatnot. So I felt like I got too much time that I'm trying to catch up for. I don't have time to be sitting around focusing on this. I need to be paying bills. Man, I just decided one day, man, I'd rather go for broke because I'd be a fool not to invest in myself when I expect other people to invest in me.
So how did you feel when you got your school?
That was it was a birthday gift for myself. Like I said, it was my birthday on June 9th. I passed my inspection on June 8th. It was a birthday gift for myself. And then really the day of my inspection, that was the worst day ever. There's no way all that could have happened to me or supposed to have been happening to me on the day of my inspection, like within an hour of the inspector making it to the school. I was helping another school out, getting their nonprofit started. And the owner told me that when the inspectors come to open to inspect your school, all the stuff that you don't have, like shampoo chairs or barber chairs or whatnot, if you what you don't have, I'll let you borrow it until you get, until you pass your inspection. I'm like, cool. The day of, she didn't, well, the day of, she texted me when I told her, I said, hey, listen, they're coming. I've been trying to call you for the last couple of days. He- they are we gonna be able to do this? She texted me the day of and told me because she was actually mad because I helped her get her nonprofit started. And there are other steps, and then after you get your 501c3 status, to legitimize yourself for the community, you have to have a website, you have to have an email, you have to have a logo. I was telling her all these things, and she felt like, hey, I don't have the money to do that right now. I'm focusing on my school. And I was like, okay, well, good. Well, let's put a pin in you helping me with this hair show because when I go out to sponsors and they see other nonprofit names on there, they're going to investigate those nonprofits. And if you don't have a website and if you don't have a logo, you're going to make me look bad on my reputation, and I can't let you do that. So because of that, she decided that she was going to bail out on me at the last minute. I scrambled for hours that morning trying to find somebody to let me borrow some chair. But thanks be to God, it happened. A week later, after I got my school open, one of the people that loaned me some chairs sent me a Facebook Marketplace link where a guy his wife was changing her salon out, and she had 10 chairs, 3 shampoo chairs, and she sold it to me for $400 because of my perseverance. I told my brother the other day, I just don't believe I would have got to that had I not persevered. But I, I'm saying that to say I didn't believe I could do it, but I persevered regardless.
Mm. So what would you tell somebody that's thinking about opening a school? They
I would say it would sit you down. It would help. It would save your feet. I would say that it is uh, a lot of paperwork to make sure that all state board regulations are followed. There's a lot of paperwork with returning in monthly reports and all that. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of accounting that got to go into it. So much so that I'm enrolled in school now to be an accountant because I want to be able to control my own books, my own nonprofit. Even though I may hire somebody to take those positions, I still want to know what's going on. So I would say be ready for the money, be ready for the money, but also be ready for the work because it ain't gonna come without a price.
how you
Since I've been open 2 weeks. I got 11 students
how'd you get them 11 students?
on Facebook. One guy, he was trying to enroll with me when I was over at the other school. He reached out to me 2 years ago after I left that school, and he was like, "Hey man, what you gonna do now that you're gone?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna open up my own." He said, "I'm gonna enroll in your school when you open up." He trusted me so much so that he gave me money that day and told me he's gonna open up, he's gonna enroll with me. He was the first one I called when my doors open, and he is there. And I promise you, he's a cold youngster that I gotta put him in a student competition in October. But hey, it's work.
So when you would reach out to me, how were you feeling when you would call or text or whatever? What did you think I was gonna respond, or how's that experience been?
Well, I know you were busy. I know you got a lot. You probably get a lot of calls all day. But what I do know is you're very personal. You know people on first name basis. When I call, it's what's up, Michael? It ain't no hello and trying to figure out who it is. You know exactly who it is already. And I think that's a good thing to say about you. One of the most humblest thing to say about you is that even though you are who you are on the stature you are in this industry, you are real and you're really down to earth. Hell, I mean, I might well go ahead and say it. There have been a time that you even cashed out me some of the money back to help me out with my school.
Um, Now let's talk about the nonprofit, because when you told me you set that nonprofit up by yourself,
Hmm.
I knew that there's thousands of other school owners and people out there that need nonprofits. And I told you
Yeah.
that you need to have like a little master class, since attorneys charging 5,000 and people charging all this money, you could actually help them at a minimum cost.
Yep, absolutely. So I took your advice on recording those videos for the master class. I think I got maybe 6 or 7 videos that tells the story from start to finish. And I think at the end of it, I want to add a couple of samples on what a sponsorship pack is supposed to look like. So that when you're going out to seek funding, you know how to write your sponsorship pack, you know how to write your different levels of sponsorship and the benefits of being a sponsor, apart from just being a tax donation or tax write-off.
Now, I watched them videos.
Hmm.
You did a great job. They're very thorough. Because I wanted to watch them before I put that link up, because I didn't want to put
Hmm.
that link up and the videos you wasn't explaining or breaking everything down, but you actually told them everything step by step on how to set up a nonprofit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that link up here. If people want to start a nonprofit, you all can click that link, fill it out. Then it's going to go to Michael's email. Michael's going to call you back. And then based on you all's conversation, he'll probably send you the link where you can join that to do the nonprofit yourself. It's not expensive. He's giving you a very good price for you to do it yourself. And then if you want him to work with you to do it, then there's another price or whatever. But it's not going to be what these attorneys are charging or whatever. And people ask me all the time about nonprofits. So now that link that I just put up, I'm going to put that in my phone. So when people ask me, I can just send that to them. So I'm glad that you're doing this, Michael, because every time I come in contact with people that are honest, not scam artists, beating people, because we know this is the internet. And I'm going to put this video on YouTube, and a lot of people are going to see it. So a lot of people are going to be reaching out to you, but I wanted you to come on here because of the nonprofit. I wanted you to come on here too, because heck, you opened up your school. I mean, you went to prison, probably came out just like a lot of us with nothing. That's the least likely person that should succeed is somebody that's been to prison. I mean, hell, I could call the race card, black, all that, but it's very challenging once you get that felony on your record to come out here. And you've opened up your school, you started a nonprofit, got your own business. So I just want to commend you for doing that, because a lot of people come out here and make excuses. You know, there's millions of beauty professionals. It's not many school owners. So when they watch this, this is going to inspire them. And there are no excuses. From hearing your story, a lot of other people's story, even Alex, the lady that had 4 girls and opened the school by herself, that says a lot. So I just want to thank you, Michael, for sharing that. And even that was a genius move about the nonprofit. So you can keep going, but I just wanted to let you know.
Well, I appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, if somebody has any questions, you know, I'm here to answer any questions you may have in regards to nonprofits, or if you're feeling a little leery about it and you want to make sure that this is the lane you need to be in, then I'm here to answer those questions tonight.
Okay, we're gonna do Q&A. Now, you had a mobile. When I first met you, we were at that booth, and you had that mobile barber shop. Because we talked
Barber
for
Concierge. Okay, so yeah, I do still have Barber Concierge. I have it in a different I have it in a different platform now. So when I started during the pandemic. When they shut us down, they didn't say we were essential workers, so we got shut down. We got shut down. But my clients kept calling. A lot of them wanted me to come to their house and cut their hairs, and I got tired of just lugging my clippers and my stuff inside and out. That, you know, even while I was in prison, I always wanted to do a mobile barbershop. I drew it out, I drew the van out, how it was going to look on the inside. And when I came home and I started telling people about it, they just felt like, nah, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. And I kept calling the state board. I was in Tennessee at the time, in Memphis. I kept calling the state board every 2-3 months, asking about it. Until finally they said, yeah, we're allowing y'all to do it. And they gave me the game plan on how to do it. And that I needed to have, so it was a van. So I needed to have a brick and mortar to attach to it, so that when state board comes by to inspect, then they can inspect the van at the same time. When I started working at the other school, I got out of the van and I put somebody else in there. And I figured, hey, I just let him make some money and then he'll pay me booth rent, you know, on a weekly basis. But he wasn't dependable as far as keeping the van safe You know, I got a lot of tickets in the mail that he was running red lights. You know, he even had an accident in the van. You know, ran my insurance premium up. So at one point, I was just like, you know, I'm done with the van. But I kept feeling like, no, God didn't give me this for me to lose it. So I went back to the wheel because it got, you know, mind you, I taught myself also how to trademark my logo. So when God told me to trademark my logo, I really felt like it was him telling me that. But when my van broke down and when all this happened to me, I just didn't understand how you wanted me to trademark my logo, but then you let my van get taken. So I came up with another way. I have a mobile app that's being worked on right now. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but I have a mobile app that's being worked on that where I can connect with other barbers in the community and run it like an Uber. I'm not gonna say too much more than that, but I figured out how to run the mobile barber industry like an Uber. And my clients, I mean, I'm sorry, my barbers would pay me 10% off every service charge. Every time somebody book on the platform, the money will go straight to that particular barber. My 10% will come off the top. I ain't gonna say no more than that, but it's dope.
Hmm. Now, um, do you have time for Q&A?
I do.
All right, so we're gonna do some Q&A. Hold on.